Hi again, everyone. This video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hey, Ollie. First, I want to start off by saying thank you so much. I've been watching your videos for quite a while now, and they have been extremely helpful in educating myself. Seeing a different perspective and knowing I'm not alone from the abuse I've endured. There are many other YouTubers I've watched on the subject of narcissism, but yours always stuck out to me because you're so honest and get straight to the point. You don't sugarcoat anything and really tell it like it is and make me laugh sometimes. It makes me sad, all the hate you receive, but stay strong and please keep doing what you're doing. I will try to make this as short as possible, as I've been through so much. If I tried to write it all, it would be sending you a novel. So basically, I grew up poor, being raised by a single mother who simply just did the best she could for my sister and I. And I have the utmost respect for her and all she's done for us. But, anyways, from a very young age, my life consisted of moving constantly, living with different relatives, changing schools often, and even lived in a homeless shelter for women and children for a while. When my mother managed to get us to a place, we had no furniture, slept on the floor, and had just enough food to get by. I pretty much had to raise my younger sister because our mother was always gone working, and I had to grow up fast. Growing up, I never really had friends because we never stayed in one place long enough for me really to do it. So I have always been extremely shy, quiet, kind of forgiving person, and I don't like attention. And because of such, I have allowed myself to be the perfect target for abuse my whole life. I was bullied all through school and beaten up by other kids on a daily basis and made fun of. I remember multiple times coming home from school crying because the girls would hold me down and rip my hair out to the point I was bleeding and so on. My mother, too, is a victim of narcissistic abuse and has never in her life had a healthy romantic relationship. So, to sever to the point that my narcissistic psychopathic sperm donor murdered my older brother when he was 3 years old, mom barely made it, and police stopped him in time before he could get to me. And this was his way of punishing her for not being his little puppet. And sadly, even after this traumatic event, she continued to be in unhealthy relationships with other narcissistic men, and the abuse continued with her, my sister, and I. I can I can admit I can admitting say that one of my biggest problems throughout life, considering what I've been through, has always been this longing to feel loved and accepted. My own father didn't want me. In fact, he wanted me dead, and neither did any of my stepfathers. I have always felt alone and like I don't fit in anywhere or with anyone. With the abuse starting at such a young age, I've always felt worthless, never defended myself, and with that began the beginning of deep depression that started when I became a teen. I was so depressed that I laid in bed and just cried all day, every day. I wouldn't eat, wouldn't speak to anyone, and even considered suicide multiple times, but could never bring myself to do it. Now here is where my life took a dark turn again for the millionth time, and where I let my narc in myself as my very own personal devil. There was this guy when I was in high school who was a few grades ahead of me and was so popular. Very handsome, charming, funny, got all the attention, and everyone loved him. And I always had a crush on him. Of course, naturally, because who wouldn't want a guy like that? And one day I was walking down the hall and he spoke to me. Oh my God, why would the coolest guy ever want to talk to such an ugly, pathetic nobody like myself? I hadn't smiled in a long time up until that day. He made all the pain go away, and life started to look up for the first time. Well, anyway, that started that talking turned into more talking and then spending time together and eventually dating. I was on cloud nine. I finally got the love and acceptance I always wanted. Well, of course, that was short lived, as being 15 at the time and naive, not realizing that I was just another victim to game. It didn't take long for him to reveal his true colors, a lying, cheating whore, self entitled, manipulative man child. But I was so in love. He was my first everything. Despite the disrespect, I played his games because, hey, I'm a low life and he's the greatest thing that will probably ever happen to me. Well, eventually, I surprisingly grew a little backbone and decided I wasn't going to take his BS anymore and dumped him. We separated for about a year and a half. Both had been dating other people, and that was the end, or so I thought. So months went by with my new boyfriend, also a narc, got bored of me and dumped me. It really didn't affect me though, because I really didn't like him. I was just feeling that void of loneliness. At this point, I've matured a little. I was out of school, got a good paying job, had my own place, was happy, had friends, had a great life. I was 18 years old and thought I was on top of the world. That is until my first love, high school narc, came back, and all those old feelings of love came back, and the spark reignited. I was a little hesitant, but being the forgiving person I figured some time has gone by and we were young and dumb, and he's probably changed and is a better person now. He asked me out again, and my dumb ass fell for it and took him in. He talked me into moving into my place right away, even though I didn't think it was a good idea, but I loved him so much and wanted to make him happy, so I let him. When he moved in, I didn't set any boundaries of any kind, assuming any decent person dating and living together should have some common sense to know. So it was just, this is it. So for about 3 months, everything was great, and we were so close. And he was kind again, loving, treating me so well. Everything was perfect. We were soulmates and everything he wanted. And I was everything he wanted, and vice versa. Ha ha. And then he went back to being the evil, sick bastard he was in the beginning. Only this time he came with a vengeance. He beat me down to my core. I lost everything I had worked so hard for. He abused me in the sickest ways, mentally, emotionally, sexually, physically, socially, financially, every way you can think possible. I went back into depression, lost my job, my apartment, relationships with my friends and family, everything. We ended up moving into his parents' house in their basement when he isolated me, and the abuse torture escalated now that he got me all to himself and weak. My only friends were his narc friends, and his narc family became the new psychotic family. Day after day, gaslighting, triangulation, compared me to his exes, cheated, forced me to do things sexually that were way past my comfort zone, telling me I'm a cheating whore and I needed to take it, crying, hitting, screaming, tried to push me down a flight of stairs, grabbed a gun and threatened to kill himself and his family, and humiliated me in front of others every chance he could get. I confided in him about my past and telling me I deserved it and that he had a harder life definitely wasn't true, and made everything about him and how he's always the victim, and even though he's a spoiled piece of shit that loves hurting other people. Then he stepped up and introduced drugs to me, which was supposed to be a night of fun that turned me into almost dying due to my addiction. For the longest time, the drugs were, in a sense, my freedom from him and the pain he had been inflicting on me. They would give me a false sense of happiness again. I was numb and felt normal while high, which he knew, so he encouraged me to stay on them. So there I stayed for a couple of years, his prisoner of torture and twisted sense of pleasure from my pain, an empty shell, and didn't know who I was anymore and didn't care. He stripped me of my identity. He had total control. Could I have left? Yes, but I didn't, because he had me under his spell. I did any and everything I could to make him happy, above and beyond, but it was never good enough. It was a vicious cycle of idealize, devalue, and repeat. My awakening was the first time I had gone out with my friends in a long time. We all decided to meet up at a local bar and have some drinks and catch up. We all had so much fun until my jealous, crazy boyfriend decided I shouldn't be out having fun. We went into a rage, drunk at home, drove himself to the bar where he caused a scene, embarrassed me in front of everyone, punched my one friend in her face and attacked the other and tried to leave. Asked my male friend to follow him to his car and stop him from drunk driving anymore. I didn't want him to hurt himself or anyone else. So my male friend took his keys away and my boyfriend fought him getting them back, which he then slit my friend's throat and threatened to kill me. My friend had had enough and body slammed him to the ground. People in their homes heard all the ruckus and called the police. When the police arrived and arrested him, they asked me if he had been abusive like this before, and I told them yes. They asked if I wanted to press any charges against him, and I didn't, which I really wish I did, but at this point I was drunk, still delusional and drained, and just done with the conflict. After they took him away, I went to my parents' house that night, to my old bedroom, and laid on the bed and cried my eyes out. At that moment, all my sense and sanity came back to me, and I was overwhelmed by the entire situation and how I could allow it to go this far. It even happened in the first place. I went outside, sat in my car, smoked a cigarette, and just screamed. It was a combination of anger at my boyfriend and myself. I just couldn't believe it. We've all been there. The next morning, the SOB comes to my parents' house. No one was home but me and woke me up after being released from jail the next morning to beg and plead for me not to leave him, and that he was so sorry and that this would never happen again. And he was going to change and things would be good. Bullshit. Now I remember everything made sense to me again, and the blindness I had to his games was gone. I could think clearly again. I knew he was full of shit. He got on his knees, holding and begging me not to leave. I wanted so badly to knee him in his fucking chin and beat the shit out of him so badly. But I knew, despite my rage towards him, that it wouldn't be the right thing to do. So I handled it maturely and calmly. I simply said, "There's nothing else you can say or do that's going to change anything. We're done." He began sobbing and said, like, "For real? But I love you so much and you can't do this to me. Like, done. I can never come back." I looked off in the distance with a blank stare and ignored him, trying so hard not to snap. Then magically, the sobbing stopped immediately. He wiped the fake tears off his face and in a complete monotone says, "Whatever, cunt, bye," and leaves. And I have never been happier. That was a year and a half ago. I've been drug-free for almost 2 years now, working in college and trying to move forward and reinvent my life. Still to this day, my ex has been trying to make my life living hell. I live in a small town and due to his popularity, everyone believes the lies he's been spreading about me and trying to sabotage my character and how he was the victim of, and I'm insane and an evil person. Well, then why did he get arrested? It's easy to say until you get arrested and blah, 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 go to hell. And even worse, after going no contact, I thought my so-called friends would be there for me emotionally. I told them everything that had happened and thought they would stick up for me and take my side, but nope, they are simply narcs themselves and flying monkeys to my ex. They pretend to be my friends, but try using my ex to hurt me and don't want to see me do any better. Well, that's what women do, especially narcissistic women. Not all women, narcissistic women. They have sided with me because with him because I figured they are all benefiting off him in some way, whether it be sleeping with him, drugs, or the attention of being his friend. I have never felt so betrayed in my life. They had to go. It's the drugs. So here I am, back to having no friends, no love, being bullied and lonely. But this time it doesn't hurt. I guess after all that bullshit, I'm happier being alone than being surrounded by toxic people who want to see me suffer. It sucks for now, but I am young yet, and I know life will get better. I've learned how to stand up for myself and what to watch out for when meeting new people. My relationship with my family is stronger than ever, and things are really looking up. The only positive thing I can take from this ordeal is that has made me much more mature, wiser, and a stronger young lady, and I am ready for a fresh start. Thanks for hearing me out. Anonymous. This is why you don't take them back. It's never different. Okay? And all the love bombing at the beginning, it's only going to make the fall worse. You don't take the narcissist back. They don't change. Not ever. But he did you a favor. Not only did he open your eyes up to his bullshit, he opened up your eyes to show you who your friends really are. And based on your childhood, you're obviously just a target for these type of narcissistic personalities to be drawn to you and abuse you. So it's a good thing you caught it early. And you'll be able to recognize it in the future. So thank you for your story and your contribution. I hope that helps. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal and my email links in the description box. And remember, when you do email me your story, to please put at the top of the email whether it's with or without contribution or what name you'd like to go by. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.